It is the Trop. The Marlins have not been here all season long, and at the very end of the year, the Fish arrived for a 3-game series. The Rays and the Marlins met in the second series of the year, all the way back in April in Miami. And last night, Asdrubal Cabrera's 8th-inning home run, the difference, a 2-run win for the Rays. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to St. Petersburg. Odd quirk of scheduling. You see a team to start the year, and you see a team to end the year.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out some of the guys that were with the Rays back in April, and then also some that have joined this ball club here the last week of the season. But a solid team. We missed you last night. Hopefully we have some fun tonight.
We will. We'll have emails and tweets tonight. I know it's not Tuesday, but heck, one last time to do that. For Miami, certainly it has been a struggle at times this season, but once the Marlins got to September, Tommy, it's all good.
It has been tremendous in the month of September. 16 wins with one more game tonight. That's tied for 5th. And if you start looking at some of the individual things, the performances of Cozart, Nicolino, Justin Bour for the month, 292, but 9 home runs for the big guy in September. Christian Yelich continuing to hit hard, 343 in September. How about Martin Prado, 19 RBIs, a 384 batting average in the month of September. The bullpen has fallen into place. Everybody knows their role. Barraclough, Ellington, A.J. Ramos with 30 saves. Mike Dunn has done a good job. So it seems like everything has fallen into place. Even you and I have kind of fallen into place here in the month of September.
I'll tell you something else that has fallen into place, and that is the pitching rotation. They got 2 really nice arms back, obviously Jose Fernandez, but getting Jared Cozart back has been a nice shot in the arm, and that's exactly what happened literally to Jared Cozart his last time out.
Yeah, he'd like to forget about that shot in the arm. He was throwing the ball well. Look at that, no runs over 4 innings. In his 4 starts since he's been back, a 1.37 ERA. Most importantly, the team in those 4 starts of Cozart's has gone 4-0.
And this a very special place for him. St. Petersburg, just the site of his first win as a major leaguer. His career numbers against the Rays are very, very good.
Yeah, back in 2013, first major league start, 8 innings, gave up just 2 hits and no runs to the Rays.
Okay, a guy that's had to come back twice this year is Drew Smyly. He's very, very good against lefties, and that should be a red flag for the Fish because they've got lefties in their lineup.
Yeah, making just his 12th start of the season because of those shoulder injuries, but pitching tremendously in the month of September. And as Rich mentioned, lefties in his career against Drew Smyly, hitting just 190.
Stage is set, Fish and Rays. Emails and tweets. And Jessica Blaylock, ladies and gentlemen, she makes her triumphant return as the Marlins and the Rays get ready to go. the Trop. And we're here too, and guess what? We brought Jessica Blaylock with us. Hi, Jess.
Hey, Rich, it is a very special email Twitter Wednesday, and tonight it is all about the offseason. What do you think the Marlins should do before the start of next year? What positions do you feel like they need to address? We want to hear from you. Tell us what you think using tonight's special hashtag, offseason dreams. You can send your tweets to @FoxMarlins. Your emails, as always, can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com. And remember to use that hashtag offseason dreams. We've already seen some great tweets, and we are going to feature those all tonight throughout the course of the broadcast. It is your tweets and emails. It is Jared Cozart on the mound, and it is game 2 of a 3-game series here in Tampa against the Rays. Miami looking to even this series with a win tonight. First pitch is coming up next from Tropicana Field.
Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Checkers, Epic Meals, Epic Deals. By AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. And by Fitbit, the #1 fitness tracker, now with heart rate. Boy, it is a great time to be here in St. Pete's. And it's a good time to be D. Gordon, isn't it? Just 2 points off the batting title with less than a week to go. JM Lexus brings you the starting lineup. Gordon in the leadoff spot, 197 hits. Christian Yelich in center. Martin Prado's at third. Justin Bour in the cleanup spot. Marcelo Zuna's starting to swing a hot bat. He's in right. Derek Dietrich's in left. JT Realmuto behind the plate. Casey McGee gets the start as the DH. And Miguel Rojas slides down to the 9 spot.
As we've talked about, Rich, a tough matchup for the left-handed bats tonight against Drew Smiley, the 26-year-old left-hander.
Gordon takes fastball for a strike. D. Gordon 1 for 3 last night with a double. Pitchapenny brings you that first pitch. Smiley, the 26-year-old, out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And a breaking ball, and Gordon goes after it. And Tommy, as you and I pointed out, Smiley's been very good against lefties in his career. And he'll have some lefties to shoot for with Gordon, Yelich, Bour, and Dietrich in the lineup tonight. Bounces another one up there, and the count's 1-2.
Not a lot of history with Drew Smiley and the Marlins. Just 1 inning, 1 game, 1 inning pitched in his career against Miami.
Gordon right back to the mound. And there's one out.
Take a look at the defense for the Tampa Bay Rays tonight, brought to you by BMW. Hey, John Jaso, Kevin Kiermaier, 14 assists for Kiermaier, Steven Souza Jr., Longoria, Asdrubal Cabrera, Nick Franklin, James Loney around that infield. J.P. Arancibia does the catching tonight.
Here's Yelich, and Yelich takes a fastball for a strike. 2 hits last night. Yelich's average sits at 293. There are 5 games left for the Marlins, including this one. So for a guy like Yelich, who is 7 points shy of 300, a really hot week is something he would love to have. A shot at 300. Even so, the fact that Yelich is in the 290s is quite an accomplishment. And he's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball over the last 2 months.
Yeah, over 340 in the month of September. A couple of good hitting ballparks, too, here at the Trop and then on to Philadelphia, even though the weather could be a little iffy in Philly.
Just off the corner, Smiley thought he had it. Jerry Davis, the veteran umpire, is behind home plate. Ben May at first, Phil Cuzzi at second, Tony Randazzo. There's Jerry. Smiley, a breaking ball, misses down low. Yelich, of course, last year actually hit better, markedly so, against lefties than righties. And he fouls that pitch back.
Christian Yelich right now with a 6-game hitting streak, so just doing a little bit of everything. And as you pointed out, Rich, going back a couple of months, last 29 games, 348. You can take it back further, and you can still see a 300 batting average.
Fastball down low. Yelich sets the bat down. Smiley seems a bit exasperated on the mound. And the Marlins have a runner at first with 1 out.
I think there were a couple of pitches during that at-bat that Smiley wanted. He didn't get them. And Yelich showing off his very good eye at the plate. And usually when he eyes one like that, he's right.
And you could see that last pitch was well out of the zone. And so Yelich is aboard. Here's Martin Prado. He had 2 hits last night, including an RBI. It was a tight ball game most of the night last night. Yelich and Prado had big hits. Ozuna as well, a couple of hits. 2-2 game in the 8th when Asdrubal Cabrera bopped one into the seats. Of course, the Marlins, and we saw it in the outset of the telecast, the Marlins in the month of September have one of the best records in all of baseball, and a lot of the players themselves point the finger at the guy in the box right now, Martin Prado. They feel like he's been their leader and one of their hottest hitters, and he rips one into left field for a hit there.
Well, how about Martin Prado in the month of September, right around 400 now with that base hit, 19 RBIs. Got himself a fastball, and you can see how quick this infield is. Ball got through in a hurry.
Now Justin Bour against the lefty Smiley. Bour 0 for 4 last night. And of course, coming off just an incredible weekend series against the Braves, in which he crushed 4 homers and drove in 8 runs. Had 2 homers on Sunday. And I guess the last frontier for Justin Bour in the big leagues is left-handed pitching. He has 63 at-bats against lefties, hitting .222 and slugging .270. Hooks a ground ball wide of first.
Take a look at what Justin Bour and the Marlins will be up against Smiley. You can see a little bit of funk in that delivery, but he adds and subtracts really well. He'll use a lot of cutters, and he came over in the David Price deal, so he had a little something to live up to with the Rays trading away David Price.
That was a 3-way deal. with Seattle. 4 up the middle. That's where the shift is. And stepping on the bag is Cabrera, who whipped it over to first. And the Rays get the double play. Shift work there for sure. Underway and scoreless. Bottom 1 at the Trop. JM Lexus brings you Tampa Bay's starting lineup. John Jaso in left, Steven Souza Jr. is in right. Evan Longoria is at third base. Grady Sizemore, the designated hitter, as Drupal Cabrera hurt the Marlins early, and he hurt them last night. James Loney's at first. JP Arancibia is the catcher. Kevin Kiermaier in center, and Nick Franklin hits ninth, and he's at second base.
Boy, it's been a nice run for Jared Cozart since his return, and his 4 starts, an ERA of 1.37.
He gets John Jaso. He of the unique batting stance. Cozart misses out. Steven Souza Jr., Evan Longoria also scheduled here in the first. It seems as if the Oakland Athletics and the Tampa Bay Rays have exchanged a lot of players over the course of the last 5 to 8 years, and Jaso one of those guys that has played for both. Cozart not even close on that one, and he's gone 3-0 to open this start. You wouldn't think that there's any residual effect. The injury was to that left forearm. And remember, one of the concerns for Cozart was being able to hit and hold the bat. Obviously, in an American League park, it's handy that he doesn't have to do that.
Well, and also it really was swelling up immediately after it happened. And he went out. Remember, he went out to try to throw a pitch. He threw one warm-up pitch, and that was it.
Comes back to run the count full, 3-2. And his breaking ball misses in. Miami's defense behind Cozart tonight.
Let's see how it sets up. Brought to you by BMW. Dietrich will be in left, Yelich in center, Ozuna's the right fielder, Prado, Miguel Rojas back in the lineup, D. Gordon's at second, Justin Bohr the first baseman. And how about JT Realmuto this year? Has caught over 1,000 innings. It's in the top 5 of catchers. He's been busy, he's learned, and he's been tremendous.
Steven Souza Jr. And a fastball from Cozart buzzes in. Of course, Souza made that great catch at the end of last year as a national, ending that Jordan Zimmerman no-hitter. He's shown power. He swings and misses there. 16 home runs this year. Jaso not a real base stealing threat at first.
Yeah, they would like to see the strikeouts come down from Steven Souza Jr. 140 strikeouts in 106 games, just 44 walks. You know, some ballparks for players have good memories, some have bad memories. For Jared Cozart, this ballpark, the Trop, has to have good memories for him.
Bouncer, Prado, Gordon makes the turn in time to get the double play.
There's a good memory beginning right there. But back in July 12, 2013 for Jared Cozart, 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs. He beat the Tampa Bay Rays, and that was his first major league start.
And look at this. In his 2 starts at the Trop, he's not given up an earned run. And here is the face of the franchise, for sure. Evan Longoria. When he arrived here, the Rays were just starting to turn, and he's been along for quite a ride, though he is struggling right now. He's won for his last 16. Breaking ball for a strike there.
Good curveball. Always nice to see Jared Cozart establish that early in the game.
Jared Cozart, nice comeback there. Got the double play, and he punches out Longoria. Scoreless. Sign up and receive ticketing updates, breaking news, and all the information that relates to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game and the All-Star Week events to be held at Marlins Park. That's in 2017. Go to marlins.com/ASG. Marcelo Zuna with Derek Dietrich and JT Real Muto in the second against Drew Smyly. Changeup misses out, and it's 1-1. Ozuna last night a double, a couple hits, and he pops that one up on the infield. Nick Franklin, Ray's second baseman, is there, and he makes the catch. So let's throw out the first email of the night. We are doing emails and tweets tonight. I know it's Wednesday, but we weren't here last night. So here we roll, and the hashtag the theme is your off-season dreams. There's how to get a hold of us. Twitter, Instagram, at Fox Marlins. Email us at foxmarlins@gmail.com. Stan and Stan in Hendersonville, North Carolina, as Dietrich takes a strike. We think that the Marlins do not need any new position players. With the emergence of Bohr, Rojas should be an excellent right-handed alternative. That's into left. Jaso over, and he makes the catch. Rojas should be an excellent alternative against lefties. The only area of concern, center field, and Marcell Ozuna. And I guess the question from Stan and Stan, is Marcell Ozuna your center fielder or an outfielder of the future?
I think he is. I think he has shown since his demotion, since he's come back, he's hitting near 270. He's driven the ball better. He's played the outfield well. Like to see Marcell take off a few pounds, just to get in really good shape, especially if he plans on playing center field an entire season.
And you think, and I would expect some of the folks in the Marlins front office, and just in talking to Dan Jennings tonight, those pounds down now that he is in much better shape than he was at the start. You can see a difference in the plate and in his play in the outfield.
Absolutely.
Real Muto. 1-1 pitch, a little tapper to short. Cabrera on the run and gets him. That was quick. Drew Smiley rips right through that second inning. Telecast presented by the Authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Jerry Cozart to work, emails and tweets as well. Alex says, off-season dream is a lockdown lefty. Marlins really haven't had a lefty specialist in a while. Mike Dunn's a guy that pitches to lefties and to righties. It's nice when you have one of those. Maybe the last guy that the Marlins had that was that man was Randy Choate.
And he's still going strong.
Yes, he is.
Ms. Mambo has a nice tweet. We always love hearing from Ms. Mambo.
I'll bet she does.
Her wish, off-season wish, get everyone healthy.
That's almost the new Moneyball, isn't it? Can you keep your players and your talent healthy? And that's across the industry. Grady Sizemore, speaking of health, is healthy. He's been playing well for the Rays, but he bounces out to D. Gordon. And there's one out here in the second. That brings up Asdrubal Cabrera. James Loney also scheduled to appear here in the second against Jared Kozar. Well, we were talking about Cabrera. He has the penchant, Tommy, for a dramatic home run. Not just last night, but in his career.
Well, he got a high fastball, and that's not where Ryan Morris is at his best in that area. And he took it deep for Cabrera, number 14 on the year.
Last 6 games, you can see he's on a nice run. The home run last night, his 7th career go-ahead homer in the 8th inning or later. So from the 8th inning on in his career, 7 times he's hit a homer to put his team ahead.
He's a good player. He has been in his career. He's been an all-star a couple of times. Silver Slugger 2011 when he was an Indian.
Cozart bounces that one in, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Marlins trying to get to 70 wins. The Rays are trying to get out of the basement of the American League East at 76 and 81. They're a half game behind Baltimore at the start of play. Whereas the Marlins have wrapped up 3rd in the National League East. But sit at 69 and 88. Kevin Cash, rookie manager.
Yeah, just 37 years old is Kevin Cash.
Cabrera takes out. You saw the standings. That reflects the 15-2 pounding that Baltimore took in the first game of a doubleheader at the hands of the Blue Jays today. Bouncer to Gordon. He mishandled one last night, and that one he knocks down and just gets Cabrera at first. Of course, D not only shooting for a batting title, the hit leaders of the National League, he could pretty much wrap that one up. Stolen base title, he's 1 shy of that. We haven't figured out on the diameter how to put the Gold Glove voting yet, because that's still somewhat cloaked in mystery.
I believe part of the percentage of the voting on the Gold Glove has already been turned in by coaches and managers.
There's the diameter. Bryce Harper has already dropped a point tonight. He's at 333, dropped down to 334 after last night. And Gordon needs just 2 stolen bases to take the lead. And of course, if you haven't been following the National League, Billy Hamilton, who has 57, 1 ahead of Gordon, is out for the rest of the year. He was shut down with a shoulder injury.
And Rich, I was just thinking, Bryce Harper has been in more battles than just the batting race over the last few days.
Loney swings and misses. Now Jerry Cozart looks sharp, so does Drew Smiley. This ball game in St. Pete, scoreless, headed to the 3rd. To Marlins Park on Monday, December 21st. It's the second annual Miami Beach Bowl. Top team from the American Athletic Conference against a team from Conference USA. Last year, BYU was in that ball game. Go to MiamiBeachBowl.com for more information. Casey McGee, Miguel Rojas, D. Gordon against Drew Smiley, who in September has been really, really good. Casey getting a start as the DH and getting a start against the lefty.
I think you look at the lineup tonight, Rich, with the way Smiley has pitched so tough against lefties, and you look at guys like Ozuna and maybe even a Casey McGee tonight to come up with something big.
Fastball runs away. Smiley's had a couple of injuries this year, so 2 stints on the disabled list, the worst of which was a torn labrum. Since he's come back from that, he's 4-1 with an ERA at 3.5.
And I think he elected to not have surgery and to rehab that shoulder.
2-2. That's right down the middle. That looked like rust from Casey McGee, who's not a guy that generally takes a pitch like that for strike 3.
Yeah, it's tough. You know he's not looking for a breaking ball. You hope he's not, because that fastball was right there.
Miguel Rojas now. Rojas in the 9 spot. Rojas had the night off last night. Donovan Solano was out at short. And of course, Rojas playing for Danny Echeverria. The likelihood of Echeverria playing on this playing surface is pretty small.
Well, then you get to the likelihood of playing in Philadelphia, where the temperatures are going to be in the 50s, maybe lower.
And a lot of rainfall is forecast for the coming weekend. So then you look at the big picture, and the likelihood of Echeverria coming back at all is pretty slight. This artificial surface much harder on hamstrings and knees and quads and all of that.
And I think, as most of us expected, it was finally made official concerning Giancarlo. Stanton's season officially over.
Smiley takes care of Rojas, so Drew Smiley gets his first 2 strikeouts to open up this 3rd inning.
We've seen a lot of breaking balls from Smiley, but all of a sudden he spotted some fastballs perfectly to Miguel Rojas. In just 74 games, Giancarlo, 265 average, 27 home runs, 67 RBIs.
Gordon now, he bounced back to the mound in the 1st. So this is not an easy assignment for D. Gordon, who's trying to chase down Bryce Harper. He's a point behind him now. 332 is D. And he's facing a guy, as Tommy pointed out, in his career is good against lefties. And this year, 171, that's it, for lefties against Smiley. Gordon shortened a bunt, and that pitch just missed. And you see those last 2 pitches were actually strikes. And then Gordon goes after a pitch down low. So that kind of evens things out at 3-2. Smiley and Gordon battling here for the 2nd time tonight. Just 1 hit first time through, and that was a Prado single to left. Fastball, ground ball to his left. Franklin has it, flips it to first. Gordon 0 for 2, and the Marlins and Rays scoreless. Go to Trent, take you back to June of last year. Justin Bour and JT Realmuto got hits in their major league debuts. It's just the second time in Marlin history that that's happened for two players in the same game. Josh Booty and Livan Hernandez did it all the way back in 1996. Good memories certainly for both. As we noted as well for Jared Cozart, his first big league start here. Pitched quite well.
You saw the big smile on Justin Bour's face, that first major league hit from a big power guy, an infield hit.
As I remember, I don't have it in front of me, Giancarlo Stanton's first major league hit, wasn't that a chopper over the mound in Philly? A little infield hit job himself. Whoa! Cozart, I think, got a glove on it and then flips it to first in time. And Cozart signals to the bench, yeah, it got me in the glove. And that was, of course, in his last start. He was hit in the forearm and forced out of the game.
Part of him is saying, you got to be kidding me. But he got to pitch up, fastball up. Aaron Sebia with a solid swing. But fortunately for Cozart, there's the glove. And he just regrouped easily and made the play.
Chuck Hernandez watching. This is a nice return home for Chuck.
Well, for both Chuck and for Dan Jennings. Dan, who started his career in the Rays organization, still has a lot of friends here.
Kevin Kiermaier swings and misses. One guy who's kind of broken out this year is Kiermaier. There's a look at DJ. He had an impressive series against Miami back in April. And Jerry Davis rings him up. Kiermaier has a beef with a veteran umpire. We check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Well, it is a Twitter and email Wednesday, and tonight it's all about the hashtag offseason dreams and what you'd like to see the Marlins accomplish during the offseason. And for Randall, he says that he would like to see the team go after a player like David Price or Yoenis Cespedes. Rich, Tommy, do you think those are realistic options?
Probably not, because of what their demands will be as far as contracts. Both Cespedes and David Price going to be probably in the $200 million range to lock either of those guys down.
Well, the year that Cespedes is having and the result that the Mets have had, add that together. The Mets are going to be, there'll be a lot of pressure for the Mets to sign Cespedes. Here's Nick Franklin in the 9 spot.
Tremendous amount of pressure on the Mets.
And they actually do have a window to sign him, which they didn't think they had when they originally got him this year. He had that unique contract in which he'd be a free agent after 5 seasons. And if the Mets had not signed him, they wouldn't have an opportunity. The other 29 clubs would, but Major League Baseball granted the Mets a window because of the uniqueness of the contract he had signed with Oakland when he came to the big leagues. Franklin swings and hits a fly ball to left, hits it pretty well. Dietrich finds the track, and a former Tampa Bay Ray barman, Derek Dietrich, makes the catch in left. Chuck Hernandez came in for a look. Remember, he doesn't have to hit here in St. Pete. And 34 pitches in, he's been brilliant tonight. The problem for the Marlins is that Drew Smyly has been baffling as well. He gets Yelich, Prado, and Bohr in the fourth. Emails and tweets tonight. Yelich takes in this an email from, looks like Shirley and Fausto. My husband and I really enjoyed the night you had commentators Carl Pavano, Jeff Cohn, and Preston Wilson, along with Tommy Hutton on. Like listening to their perspective and insight. Would like to see more of that next year. They feel that Justin Bohr will be a fine first baseman next year. And that the Marlins infield of Prado, Gordon, Bohr, Echeverria, and Rojas is the fifth infielder. Would be a great asset for the team. Tommy Hutton, they say, what do you think the Marlins might trade for next year? Starting pitching? Question mark. And that's thanks from Shirley and Fausto. That's strike three. That's thanks from Drew Smyly.
Boy, and that's a good breaking ball, too, to fool a really good hitter in Christian Yelich. It gives you kind of an idea of what Smyly has. Perfect location.
And no argument from Yelich.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds easy. A lot of clubs and most clubs are interested in pitching, but you and I have talked about it over the last few months. It would be nice to see the Marlins get a number two starter, a solid number two guy that could go behind Jose Fernandez. Now, on the other hand, that's hard to trade for also.
Prado ripped a single to left, the only hit not only for Miami, but the only hit of the ballgame. So that being said, your hope as well as an organization has to be that Jared Cozart's healthy and pitching well, because he's a middle of the rotation guy if he's on, as he showed at the end of 14. Henderson Alvarez to me is the wild card.
And you're not sure what his health will be next year.
That's right. He's coming off the shoulder surgery. All signs point to him being able to throw in spring training and be ready for opening day. Prado dumps that into center field. And a running catch by Kiermaier, who has turned into an elite defender in the American League out in center.
Tremendous jump by Kevin Kiermaier, and he is an elite center fielder. Yeah, so that number two pitcher sometimes is amongst what you have, and a guy like a Henderson Alvarez, if he comes back healthy, perhaps a Jared Cozart. The rest of the rotation starting to look okay with the two left-handers, Nicolino and Conley.
Bohr cracks one to right field. Over for it is Souza, and it hits the top of something, bounces back in. It's in play, and Bohr ends up at second. Whether it hit a fan's glove or the top of the wall, it was hard to tell. You can see the yellow line. If it hits that yellow and comes back in, it's still in play.
That hits right on top of the yellow line.
Wow.
So he's a half inch from a home run from number 24. And again, another shot. Another ball hit extremely hard by Justin Bohr. This is a good sign tonight. Against a tough left-hander, he's hit two balls really hard. The ball he hit up the middle that the Rays turned into a double play, he hit sharply, and he crushed that ball.
Marlins did take a look in the video room. You saw the pictures yourself at home. You could see it hit the top of that fence. The yellow is a point of demarcation for umpires trying to figure if it stays in or goes out. It's to help with the vision of the umpires. So if it hits the yellow line, it still has to bounce out of the park to be a home run.
You notice on that padding there, like two tubes. It hit the top tube.
Marcell Ozuna now. Yeah, that's why it took such a dramatic bounce up and then back into the field of play.
Travis has some suggestions, Rich, in a tweet. Said, how about a right-handed platoon partner for Bohr, a legit backup catcher, a solid left-hander in the rotation. would be nice. We'll pass those along, Travis, to those who make those decisions.
Ozuna with a count 1-1. He popped out back in the second. For the runner at second. And quickly it's 1-2. The unique shot that you get from the top of the trop. Ozuna sends that into left center field. That's a hit. Bohr around third, and he's going to score. And Marcell Ozuna gives Miami a 1-0 lead. Boy, nice to see, especially since Bohr came so close to a solo homer. Ozuna picks him up, his third hit of the series.
Talked about Marcell Ozuna since his return from AAA. His average right around 275 now, 40 games, maybe a little bit higher. He's gotten some big hits. We also mentioned early in the game against this tough left-hander Drew Smyly, you might want to look at guys like Ozuna and Casey McGee tonight to drive in some runs. Good job by Marcell.
Here's Dietrich. Big shift. The Rays are as aggressive as anybody in shifting their infield. It paid off when Bohr smacked one over the middle into a double play in the first. And Dietrich's getting that same treatment. Pitch is out for Bohr, by the way. That's 18 doubles now to go with 23 home runs. And the big fella's slugging percentage continues to climb upward as this season draws to a close. With the 5 games left, Bohr's slugging percentage is getting close to 500.
Well, it's an interesting thought if you go back to spring training. If someone would have told us your RBI leader this year will be Justin Bohr.
That's true. He's going to lead the Marlins in that category. Dietrich fouls it back. So if he, I mean, any slugging percentage up in the mid 400s and above is a good one. The average slugging percentage in the National League this year is .398. So he's well above average. Dietrich swings and misses and strikes out. But Miami's on the board. A near homer by Bohr and an RBI single by Ozuna. Epic meals, epic deals. And by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you, drive sober or get pulled over. In St. Pete's, the Trop at night. From above, 1-0 Miami on top. Jared Cozart will go second time through the Rays lineup. He's not given up a hit. He walked one, and he struck out 3 the first time through. Jaso Souza Longoria. And John Jaso takes a fastball for a strike.
Jared Cozart's locked in nicely. He's in a good rhythm. Fastball, the curveball. We'll see how the Rays react second time around.
Which just goes to show you, sometimes first impressions can be deceiving. Remember, he fell behind Jaso 3-0, ended up walking him, and looked wild. That bouncer, Gordon, shifted over, and Jaso finds a gap and gets a hit.
You see how far it's an interesting shift because D. Gordon is well over, but there's a huge opening right in this area. And that's exactly where Jaso hits the ball. Didn't hit it that sharply, but it was able to get through. So an interesting shift with D over so far, yet Miguel Rojas still on the left side of the infield.
Now Steven Souza Jr., he bounced into a double play. That erased Jaso in the first. And he sends that one up and out of play.
Put me in, coach, has a good tweet. And it's one certainly that is going to be well thought out by the organization. Improve the minor league system. Absolutely right.
How do you do that?
You do it through drafting, you do it through trades, and it takes more than a year. It takes 3 or 4 years to do that. It's not something that's done rapidly.
Souza, a native of the Seattle area, Everett, Washington. Line drive, base hit. Ozuna has it in right. And the Rays are in business here. Runners first and second. And Longoria and Sizemore, Cabrera all lined up.
Third baseman, Longoria.
South Florida Honda dealers bring you Marlins Live pregame tomorrow, 6:30 start. 7 o'clock game time. It's a Jose Fernandez start, and of course Jose from this Tampa area. Ends the 3-game series, and then there's a big question mark as to what happens on Friday. That one fouled back. Tommy, you noted that there are weather issues in the Northeast, and a lot of games that are scheduled for tomorrow night are being moved up to the afternoon. Teams trying to get those games in. The Mets and Phillies game in Philly has been moved up to a 12:05 start. Some teams playing a doubleheader today.
Yeah, there were 3 games postponed last night.
Oh, and that one gets by Real Muto. And now the Rays with runners at second and third. And nobody out.
That's always tough right there because it changes the whole complexion of things. It'll be a wild pitch. It just uncorked by Cozart because now you eliminate a double play possibility and you get runners at second and third. So it really changes everything, especially for Cozart and also for Longoria, the hitter.
Pitches in. Also in that Philadelphia Northeast corridor, Baltimore and the Jays are going to play an afternoon game at 12:05. And so the Marlins scheduled for Friday night Saturday night, Sunday afternoon in Philly. Longoria going after a breaking ball. It's 2-2.
So, Rich, we may have to be flexible for some possible game time changes. We'll see.
Well, as well, we better be prepared clothing-wise for it to get wet, because it sounds like that's going to happen this coming weekend. Here tonight, Jared Cozart in a tight spot here. He's tried twice on breaking balls, and Longoria's taken 2 of them. Got full out, 3-2. That one misses. Realmuto calls timeout. The Rays have them loaded with nobody out here in the 4th.
Yeah, you were talking about the weather last night. They were postponed in Baltimore. St. Louis at Pittsburgh was canceled. Minnesota at Cleveland. And the Giants' bats were canceled by Clayton Kershaw last night. Threw a 1-hit shutout at 13 strikeouts.
And the Dodgers got to Madison Bumgarner and clinched the West. And so now for the next 5 days, focus will be on Mets, Dodgers, home field advantage for that first round division series.
Yeah, they come into play today. The Mets have 89 wins, or 89-68. The Dodgers are 88-69.
Grady Sizemore has been hot. A 5-game hit streak into tonight. He's 0 for 1 here. Last 14 games, his average up at 370. And Cozart just misses. And he's gone 3-0 on the veteran left-handed bat. No place to put him. 2 singles and a walk. That would be strike 1. Jose tomorrow night. Cozart's 3-1. He comes back and gets strike 2.
You know, 3-1 fastball. I'm sure Sizemore figures he's going to get a 3-2 fastball as well.
Miami's infield poised for a double play ball. Jaso, Souza, Longoria. The bag's loaded. Got him, and he chased. So from 3-0 to a punch out of Grady Sizemore.
You talk about a confidence booster. Sometimes this will really get things going. Not a good pitch at all, but he got Sizemore to chase that fastball. Sometimes that's what happens when you're really zoned in and you know you're going to get a fastball. Sometimes you swing at it no matter where it is.
JT Realmuto out to chat with Cozart. Now you're staring at Asdrubal Cabrera, who had that game-winning homer last night. Infield still looks for 2. Cozart trying to deliver that ground ball. He gets strike 1. Pitch is out. The Nationals lost last night in Atlanta. They had a breakdown offensively, trying to bunt some runners up late in last night's ball game. Lost it, and now they're losing to Atlanta again 2-0 in the bottom of the fourth. That's in Atlanta.
At last check, Bryce Harper was 0 for 2.
D. Gordon is 0 for 2 here. 1-1 is out.
See, all of a sudden, the last 2 pitches off speed, he's missed with him. So 2-1, a good fastball hitter. Cabrera knows he's going to get that fastball.
To center, Yelich back. Makes the catch. It'll score a run and push the runner at second, Souza to third. And the Rays have tied the game. Not exactly how you drew it up, Tommy Hutton.
Yeah, you get to that situation, you're a good hitter, which is what Asdrubal Cabrera has been for a number of years. He's not going to waste any time on a fastball. He knew he was going to get it with the count 2-1. He did, and he drove it deep enough not only to score a run, but to move Souza over to third. That's one of those things, you say it often, you hear us say it. If Cozart gets out of this situation, giving up just the 1 run, it's a little bit of a bonus. Because remember, he had bases loaded, nobody out.
El Tipo, offseason dream. Gold glove for Danny Echeverria and D. Gordon. Don't forget Christian Yelich as well, because Yelich very easily could win a gold glove in left. Well, look, winning a gold glove is not easy, but he may well win his second straight. Pitch misses down low.
Just a nice example, drifting back on that fly ball that was hit well by Cabrera. Played nicely, played perfectly by Yelich. Cozart threw 34 pitches the first 3 innings. He's at 25 now, just in this inning.
Strike, and it's 2-1 to James Loney. He didn't like it, and that's the reason why. Look at that pitch, pitch 3. A left-handed bat, that's way off the plate. And Loney bops it foul. Loney's always been known as a great glove man at first. Not a lot of power, not a high slugging percentage, just a steady guy. Always a very good working knowledge of the strike zone. Gordon has it, little flip in time to get the out, and Jared Cozart gives up just the 1 run, and the Rays lead 2. 1-1 after 4.
Echeverria once again not in the lineup. He's been out for the past few weeks due to that hamstring injury, but manager Dan Jennings hoping that doesn't affect his Gold Glove campaign.
You certainly hope not. You know, I mean, he played really up until 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and I know the ballots were out roughly a week ago or so. And I know selfishly that just watching him, as much as we've been able to see, he's performed, he's earned it, and you hope that, you know, our guys that are up for consideration have made a big enough impression on the rest of the league and the voters.
And guys, Etch is improving, still not 100% though. He could play in an emergency situation, but the Marlins do not want to push it.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. We noted that this surface is not one you really want a guy who's favoring somewhat of a hamstring injury to play on. And then Tommy quickly pointed out that the weather in Philly is going to be wet. So he might be done, but there's a good point there in that the ballots about a week and a half ago were turned in, as well as the metrics, the first 135 or 140 games. That's 25% of what goes into the Gold Glove voting or tabulation for each player. I think that helps Echeverria. I think it helps Christian Yelich, because Yelich has been pushed from left to center by necessity, and that takes him sometimes out of out of sight, out of mind, so to speak.
To use a fielding term, it takes him out of range.
There you go. So you hope that since the ballots were, have been in for a week and a half, that it helps both Echeverria and Yelich in center. El Tipo's last tweet, he wanted to clarify. He thinks Yelich will win the Gold Glove. He just feels that Etch might get snubbed, and wants to make sure he brought that to light, and he did so quite well. McGee off the end of the bat. Smiley gets the out. Brian in Big Bear, California. Look at that setup.
Beautiful, beautiful spot, by the way, Big Bear, California.
He's got 2 flat screens going. He's got a neighborhood pub. Big Bear, California. Sun Sports and Fox.
See, there are those in Southern California who will say, on a perfect day, maybe in the winter, you could ski in the morning at Big Bear and then go to the beach in the late afternoon, Southern California. Daniel with a tweet, off-season dream, 33 starts from Jose and 150 games from Giancarlo.
That would be swell. I mean, that really would be a big lift for the ball club in 2016. Miguel Rojas. With Real Muto, the runner at second. Rojas struck out back in the third. And of course, Rojas has been really good with the bat and the glove. His play has been Gold Glove caliber in place of Echeverria. And I think he has shown to this organization that he is more than just a good glove. Coming into the season, the offseason, he really worked the winter ball on his hitting. And it's paid off. 1-2 coming. In the dirt, nice block by Aaron Sebia.
Boy, the Mets have their fingers crossed. Yoenis Cespedes had to leave their game against the Phillies. He was hit on the left hand by a pitch.
Gulp. There's a lot of teams that are just trying to get through the week without an injury. The Cardinals had that real scare with Stephen Piscotty in the outfield.
Well, it sounds like he's okay. Back with the ball club out of the hospital.
swings and misses. Aaron Sevia's throw chases Real Muto back. And there are 2 outs. Off-season news. You can keep up with the Marlins. Breaking news and information in the off-season. Go to marlins.com/connect. Stay connected with the Marlins in the off-season. Here's Gordon now. This has been a tough ride for Gordon tonight. Tap back to the mound in the first, and he bounced to second in the third. Pulls that one wide of James Loney. There's your diameter. Gordon an 0 for 2. He's dropped to 331. Harper an 0 for 2. He's at 333. Aaron Sevia, a nice job. He's had such brief at bats. We haven't had a chance to remind you that Aaron Sevia is a hometown kid in Miami, Westminster Christian. Went on to play at the University of Tennessee. 29-year-old, known as a really good defensive catcher, and a guy that went in the big leagues with the Blue Jays, the Rangers, and now the Rays here in 15.
Yeah, first-round pick of the Toronto Blue Jays back in 07. What a nice job back there tonight.
Yeah, he has to here, especially against the lefties, because Smiley hasn't thrown a whole lot of breaking balls to the right-handed bats, but he certainly has fed the lefties a pretty good diet of them.
Have to wonder if he'll stick with it here or if he'll come after D. Gordon right now with a fastball with the count 2-1.
He zips that fastball outside. Well, I think if you're Smiley, this is going to be center cut fastball here.
Absolutely. I think he'd rather go after D. Gordon than Christian Yelich.
Amen. Because Yelich can hit it out of the ballpark with a little more frequency. Not sure if it was center cut. It was up a bit. Yeah, it was center cut. But just caught it at the letters.
You would think another fastball.
Got him with a fastball. And so Smiley stayed true to that fastball. Strikes out Gordon. Halfway through, it's 1-1. MLB Whip Around. I think they like the music too. It's on FS1. Streams live on Fox Sports Go. 7 Eastern. Every weeknight. Of course, a lot to cover in the next week and beyond through October, with the American League Division Series and Championship Series coming to FS1.
Let's see if Jared Kozart can get back into getting that curveball over a little bit. He kind of got away from that last inning and had trouble with the command of that pitch.
That's a seed, and Prado spears it. Arancibia is out number 1.
Doug has a really nice tweet. These are the kind we like. Doug just said, off-season dreams, so entertained by this team. I wish all the guys happiness and good health in 2016. And I would hope Doug included us in that too.
Our buddy Andy sends us greetings from the Dominican Republic.
Ah, terrific.
Enjoy your season. Keep in touch. And that Andy actually happens to be Andy Barquette, who did such a fine job managing in the Marlins system and is now managing in the Dominican Republic for Winter Ball.
Yeah, I think this is Andy's second year managing in the Dominican.
Nice hop up for Rojas, and he guns it over to first. And Kiermaier is out number 2, and it looks like Kozart's back into somewhat of a groove.
You and I were talking about this before the game, Rich. Dave has a question, and Dave's question is our favorite moment of the season. And I know the first thing that came to my mind was the return of Jose, that afternoon game at Marlins Park. That was a favorite moment for me.
All right, I will go with Justin Bour's walk-off homer against the Giants, because that was the week where Bour got hot and really, for the first time, put everyone on notice that he was a power threat and was somebody to keep your eye on. And darn if he hasn't continued to hit home runs. That one pulled foul.
I believe that started his stretch of home runs in 4 consecutive games, too.
All right, so that's a good favorite moment. Now on Saturday, we'll be joined by Preston Wilson in the rain, possibly, in Philly. And we'll be talking about our favorite moments of the year. Jessica already has some of the players with their favorite moments, so that's a theme for Saturday. That ball's hit well, right center field. Back goes Yelich at the wall. Gone. Nick Franklin muscles up and homers to right center, just his 3rd of the season. Wow. That may be the last guy in the lineup you expect to do that.
To see a guy hit a ball that far and this sharply, of course, the fastball out over the plate, you would think Nick Franklin has 15, 18 home runs this year. But as you mentioned, Rich, number 3 on the year, and he hit that ball hard.
And so the Rays are on top 2-1.
You know, my question for Jessica, I know she had some issues early in the year. Did she pack accordingly for the possible cold weather in Philadelphia?
I like to think that the theme of the season is constant improvement. I dealt with the rain. I learned my lesson. I had an umbrella when I was in Colorado. We dealt with some cold weather where I had to borrow socks from the team back in New York. So I learned to maybe pack socks and closed-toed shoes. So yes, I have packed adequately for the lows in the mid-40s for Philadelphia and the impending rain. I think I'm prepared.
All right, good to hear.
Well, that home run seems to have unnerved Kozart. He walks Jaso, who's been on base all 3 times tonight. And up comes Souza. Geico present the Marlins moment for tonight. There it is. A large Geico sign. The Gecko lives behind it. 2009 on this date, Ricky Nolasco had that magical run. He punched out 9 in a row, 16 total in Atlanta.
That was fun to watch.
You talk about a guy who could really spin the baseball. That curveball that night was just suffocating. Real Muto, little high throw. Ouch, that's going to end up in center. And Gordon came down on the runner, Jaso, and thankfully both are okay. That was a scary moment in the middle of the diamond.
It's going to be ruled a wild pitch. This ball in the dirt pops up in the air. JT tries to rush this just a little bit. That's why the throw goes high, and then D. Gordon and Jaso get kind of tangled. But all is okay.
Now it's 2-0. This is a funny one.
We like those two.
There's a strike. It's from Patricia in Port St. Lucie. Thanks for another spectacular season of Marlins broadcasting. All of you, Craig, Jeff, Preston, Carl, Jessica. One question. Tommy, when will you be writing your autobiography? Looking forward to the tell-all, in particular about the 2015 season. What would the title of your...
I have no idea.
One last rant?
Yeah, that's a good title. I like that title. But it will not be coming out.
The pitch is out. And so Cozart, who got the first 2 outs, has given up a homer and a couple of walks.
Boy, now he's going to get a visit from Chuck Hernandez, and he's going to also have to deal with Evan Longoria.
It's a Jose Fernandez night tomorrow night. Remember his start his rookie year in this building. It was, for him, an emotionally draining start because he came back. Jose was pitching in front of friends and family for the first time as a big leaguer, high school coach. And he was just so overamped. He came out throwing 100, but that wasn't good. And the Rays really knocked him around.
Well, in 3 1/3 innings, he gave up 5 hits and 7 runs, 4 earned runs, but he walked 3. Saw the hit batter. Yeah, he was all over the place. Good experience, and I guarantee he learned a lot from that start, too.
You know, he's referenced that start a few times when he has had big starts, even when he came back. Your favorite moment of this year, that pitch misses into Longoria.
Yeah, that day game at Marlins Park
against the Giants. He even mentioned that start here as a good learning experience and what not to do in coming back to pitch against the Giants. Tapper out towards short. Rojas goes out. That's close.
Wow.
And that might not be the 3rd out. Rays will challenge it. Rojas took it deep at short. I don't know that he had a play at first. I mean, Longoria was getting down the line. Souza wasn't held at first, and to his credit, he busted it to second.
Yeah, he got himself a pretty good lead, and yeah, he's safe. He looks like he's safe. So I think that's going to be overturned. You're right about Longoria. Got up the line quickly. Souza had a big lead because he wasn't being held on. Crowd getting a chance to see it on the big screen, so you can kind of hear their reaction too. And I don't think this is going to take too long for the fellas back in New York.
See, I think there should be a change to the protocol here. I think if the umpires are standing around with a headset on and they look at the big screen and it's obvious that what the call is,
throw the headset
just
down.
Throw the headset down and say, "See you guys." Because there's other games going on, and the 4 umpires that are in there, sometimes it takes them a second or 2 to get dialed in.
We got to go to that Rays game down in St. Pete.
Right, and then it takes a while to get the tape up. If they get it up in the ballpark, and almost all of the screens are high-def screens. If it's obvious, I think the umpire should have the option of just dropping the headset and say, "I'm out. Peace out."
With him being called safe, then that should be a base hit for Longoria. Boy, all this coming after 2 quick outs. The home run, 2 walks, the infield base hit, and another bases loaded situation for Cozart.
Against Sizemore, whom he struck out in the 4th with the bags loaded. It will not be a base hit.
I don't know why.
It'll go as a fielder's choice.
I don't understand that.
Neither does Longoria, quite honestly.
Because the rule of thumb is if you can't get the guy at second, you more than likely aren't going to get the guy at first. See, he's a deep short by the time he fields that ball. And Longoria runs pretty well.
Well, Tapper, I think if Rojas had it to do it all over again, he would have gone to get that hop, give himself time to get the out at second or at first. Brad Hand is in Miami's bullpen. Yeah, Cozart fell behind Sizemore 3-0, came back to go 3-2, and then Sizemore chased a pitch down low for strike 3. That was with the bags loaded last inning. Cozart goes down there and misses.
This is why, and I'm still not sure if it's going to work out for Cozart, if he's going to get an opportunity to throw some this winter somewhere. Fall League, Dominican, wherever, because he needs innings. Came into this game having thrown just 65 innings this year. Last year, for Cozart, between Houston and Miami, 180 innings.
Well, it's a great point, because when you hear people talk about arm injuries and all of that, they talk about the jump in workload from one year to the next. So for a guy like Cozart, if you can fill in the gaps with the Arizona Fall League or Winter League, you're giving yourself such a big help towards next year. That is a fair ball, just fair, and down the line it goes. It's going to score 3. Chasing home everybody. Jaso, Souza, Longoria. And a big hit by Sizemore. The Rays with a 5-1 lead now. And how big is that play at second base? The Marlins were headed to their dugout. They didn't get that last out.
Just inside the foul line. Sounded like Sizemore may have broken his back. But once it gets down into that area beyond the bullpen, Sizemore with his speeds at second, and he cleared the bases.
And that's going to clear the mound as well. Dan Jennings coming on. And Jared Cozart exits. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Tampa Bay up now 5-1. Cozart got the first 2 outs of the 5th. The home run by Nick Franklin was suddenly and certainly a surprise. Franklin just his 3rd of the season, but then walks to John Jaso and Steven Souza. Rojas kind of misplaying that ball at short. Sizemore empties the bases, and Brad Hand arrives. Asdrubal Cabrera, the switch hitter, flips around to hit right-handed. And Hand misses low with a fastball. Official score has changed the fielder's choice to a hit.
I think the accurate call.
The Longoria gets a hit. The Rays have 4 runs. And the pitch misses out. A tweet from Mr. Dimples.
Always good to hear from Mr. Dimples.
Looking forward to seeing Bohr and Stanton batting back-to-back in 2016.
I'm seeing a disturbing tweet from Mr. Dimples, though, after that. Thank you at Fox Marlins for all the mentions over the years. I got nothing left. Closing this account Sunday.
Hang in there, Mr. Dimples. Mr. Dimples also is worried about the closer role next year. 3-1 pitch down low. And so Brad Hand comes in and walks Cabrera. James Loney comes up next. What do you think about closer next year? Is it A.J. Ramos?
I'm not in the camp that says you have to spend a lot for a closer. I think you can find a closer, and I think AJ did a really good job this year. I mean, there's a lot of mentions. We've had some tweets on the Cuban Missile, Aroldis Chapman. It's going to cost a lot of money, and I don't know if you spend that kind of money. I'd rather spend it elsewhere if it was my money spending.
You'd rather spend it on, and at the top of your list was a number 2 type starter.
Yeah.
Do you have any other? It's hard to know who's out there.
You really don't.
You either buy a number 2 starter or you trade for it, and you have to give up a lot to get it.
Hard to trade for a number 2 starter.
Or number 1 for that matter. To left, Dietrich is there, and he makes the catch. Loney flies out. Big hits in this one. First the Franklin homer, then the 3-run double by Grady Sizemore. tight ball game. All of a sudden, 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th, and the Rays are up 5-1. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton, Jessica Blaylock is here as well. In St. Pete's, in the Trop, Christian Yelich takes a slow breaking ball for a strike, 75 miles an hour. Yelich has walked and struck out. Drew Smiley now has a lead to work with. As we pointed out, he's been pretty darn good in the month of September. Yelich bounces one wide of the bag. For the Marlins, their lone run came in the 4th. 2-out double by Justin Bour. Ball that hit the very top of the wall in right and stayed in play. Marcell Ozuna scored him with an RBI hit.
Yeah, I think we've seen from Smiley, you've seen the curveball, the slider, cutter, a little sharper breaking ball, and then he's used that fastball. But over his last 5 starts, Smiley 3-0 and a 270 earned run average. There's the fastball.
And down goes Yelich. Smiley certainly on tonight.
After some slow stuff, see Aaron Sebia is setting up outside, and that's exactly where Smiley spotted that fastball. Perfect.
Fastball to Prado, misses out. All right, email this one from Bobby in Plantation. Longtime Marlin fan since day one, never missed a game. Never mind a wish list for over the winter. Bobby has a wish right now. I wish Cole Gillespie were given a chance to play right now. Is there any reason that Derek Dietrich's playing tonight instead of Gillespie? Gillespie, a better defensive player, and he's a right-handed bat. Actually,
yes, there is a reason.
There is. He's got a banged-up hand. Remember the catch he made when he crashed into center field, and the ball and the glove were caught between his chest and the wall. Had the wind knocked out of him. Well, he injured his hand on that catch, and so that's why you haven't seen a lot of Gillespie of late. He's been able to come in late in the defensive spot.
We've seen him pinch run a couple of times. Frustrating for Gillespie.
Prado fouls it back to the screen. But I would, I mean, Bobby, I think your instincts are good on that, in that Cole Gillespie had a really nice year for the Marlins, a chance to play at the big league level with probably more regularity than he's had in his career, and he showed that he is a very capable major league player.
65 games, a 290 batting average for Gillespie, 10 doubles, couple of triples, couple of home runs.
Here is Justin Bour. Bour bounced into a double play in the 1st, doubled off the top of the wall in the 4th. Prado the runner at first. Breaking ball cracked, foul. Down by the Rays bullpen.
Talking a little bit around the batting cage to Lenny Harris. Lenny works with Frank Menachino. They do a terrific job with the hitters. And we're talking about Justin Bour, and Lenny was talking about the improvements that he's made so much in the changeup and the slow stuff. More selective, staying back on it better.
Right-hander Colomé in the bullpen. Alex Colomé. 0-2 to Bour, and he swings and misses and strikes out. Interested has an email. Interested says, I haven't heard much discussion on the manager situation from you guys. Do you think Dan Jennings will be back as manager? Actually, the Marlins have said that they have invited Dan Jennings back into the front office as the general manager, and they are looking for a manager for next year. I don't think that's any breaking news. I think that's been pretty well known over the last couple of weeks. And so for fans on their wish list, I guess they can look at possibilities and candidates. Now back to the screen. There's really is, I think, at this point in Major League Baseball more than any other time, there's such a wide range of qualifications for candidates, from guys that have just been out of the game as players to guys that have managed in other places.
I think if you're any club, to kind of narrow it down, if you're the Marlins, you have to narrow it down. You have to ask yourself, okay, what type of manager are we looking for? We're going to look for a guy who has some experience, someone who's less experienced. Then I think you go from there.
Ozuna takes down low. All right. Seeing what you've seen this year, actually go back 2 years, seeing what you saw last year from the ball club, what you saw this year from the ball club. You know the personnel that's involved, and what type of manager fits. What would the criteria be from what you just said?
I think it has to be someone with a little experience, because you have guys now that are starting to get experience. Someone who certainly commands respect in the clubhouse.
Little tapper. Aaron Sebia fields it and flips to first in time to get the out. 5-1 Tampa Bay. Go to marlins.com/fishfamily. Fish Family bonus code is St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg. Gary Nicholas is our critically acclaimed director. And when he wasn't directing Rays baseball in the past, he's now with us. He was at the touch tank. Oftentimes he found himself in the touch tank. But that a cool spot out there in right center. Do they have, and I'll ask this directly into our production truck to Gary Nicholas, do they have like a splashdown meter like they do in San Francisco with the splash hits? Gary remembers just one ball hit in there. Oh, now he's saying 3. Luis Gonzalez, the first one. JP Arancibia, and he sends one into left field for a hit. The leadoff single against Brad Hand. If you're just dropping by and you see Brad Hand out there, he came in relief for Jared Cozart, whose night ended in the 5th inning.
These are always those situations that you look at in an American League game with the DH, that if you bring a guy in, and in this case Brad Hand come in the game and he throws the ball well, you don't have to worry about looking ahead to see when you have to take him out, when you have to pinch hit for him. You can use a guy out of the bullpen, a middle guy, and get some good innings from him. And that's what your hope is, bringing in Brad Hand here. So he keeps the game at 5-1 the way it is now.
We accept emails from all sorts, from young and old, experienced, inexperienced, baseball savants, baseball newbies. Swing and a miss from Kiermaier. We have an email from Tim, who points out that the longest losing streak on the road in interleague play currently is the Marlins, who have dropped 10 in a row. Longest all time, the Dodgers, who lost 15 straight back in 05 and 06. Tim, who moonlights as our pregame producer. Tim McDermott, welcome to the show.
Interleague statistics are a little different over the last couple of years. Remember when interleague play first came into being, most of the interleague games were played in June. You played your series and you were done. But now with the schedule the way it is, with the different number of teams, there's an interleague game series played every night. So it kind of changes things a little. But we thank our pregame producer Tim McDermott for being so observant and trying to help our telecast too.
That's the overriding.
You know, when he's not trying to keep Craig Minervini in check, Carl Pavano back in the studio, he finds time for us, Rich.
Good to know. Vic Franklin is also a switch hitter. Franklin, who homered to right center. That was a real surprise. Franklin certainly hadn't shown a lot of power in his big league career or his Rays career. That was his 3rd this season. And the Rays would go on to score 3 more and take a 5-1 lead. It was last inning. Real Muto, one pops from his glove. Franklin, part of that 3-way that we were talking, the 3-way trade. Tigers, the Rays, and Seattle. David Price, the big name, going to Detroit, but the Rays got tonight's starter Drew Smiley from Detroit. They got Nick Franklin from Seattle. That one pulled foul. And Franklin out of Lake Brantley High School in Orlando. So he's a Florida guy that's able to come back home. First round pick, 27th overall by Seattle in 09.
Some good names out of that high school. Jamal Weeks, of course, Ricky Weeks.
Brad Radke out of there. That one hit the home plate umpire, Jerry Davis. Let's hope that Davis is okay.
Jason Varitek, Donnie Venters, Felipe Lopez. I don't have Radke on that list. He could have been out of there.
Yeah, he may have been from the Orlando area, not from that school. Here's a look, and let's see where it got Davis. Looks like shoulder. Right shoulder.
That's where it looks like he's being attended to. Umpires are tough. I mean, they don't want to waste time. They want to move the game along. A little smile from Jerry Davis. He's all right. A little nod.
So Franklin digs back in. There's one out here in the 6th. Sharp breaking ball, and down goes Franklin. And the Rays are going to pinch hit for John Jaso. Mikey Matuk will hit.
Not sure if it's because of his name, because of the way he's played in his time. Maybe a combination of both, but he seems to be a crowd favorite already out of LSU.
I think it's because of the way he's played that Dan Jennings is coming out and going to the bullpen. He's going to bring in a right-hander. 5-1. Rays on top of the Fish. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the for postseason action, the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins October 8th on FS1. It streams live on Fox Sports Go. Jose Urena becomes the second reliever in a game started by Jared Kozart. And a ball game that the Marlins had a brief 1-0 lead. Got at the top of the 4th. The Rays tied it that same inning. And then 4 runs in the 5th and a 5-1 game now.
We've talked about this probably over the last couple of weeks. Looking at players, be they hitters or pitchers, in situations to make assessments. And I think the Marlins getting an opportunity with Brad Hand working out of the bullpen to see how he performs, and the same with Jose Urena. Do they see Urena a better fit out of the bullpen or in the rotation as a starter?
Matuk takes a fastball for a strike. The count 0-2. The 25-year-olds Born in Lafayette, Louisiana. Lives in Baton Rouge and was a star at LSU. Compensation pick, 31st overall. And the Rays lost Rafael Soriano to the Yankees as a free agent. And a huge career at LSU, as you would expect. Also a great high school quarterback in Lafayette, Louisiana.
It was actually drafted by the Marlins out of high school.
Well, Urania comes in and ends that quick little thumbnail on Mikey Matuk, didn't he? 5-1. Rays on top. Seventh inning. Marlins season ticket holders will guarantee access to the 2017 All-Star Game at Marlins Park, and you can do it by placing a deposit for 2016. 1-877 Marlins. Go to marlins.com for more details.
Well, a couple of changes. Brandon Gomes comes in to pitch for the Rays, making his 62nd appearance, and Matuk, who pinch hit for Jaso, stays in the game. So Mikey Matuk's in left field. There he is. So a little different look now for the Marlins hitters. They'll see a right-hander out there in Gomes.
Derek Dietrich, JT Realmuto, and then Casey McGee. Gomes starts with a breaking ball and misses. Well, the Marlins certainly saw enough from Drew Smyly to know that the numbers were accurate. He was a hot pitcher in September. That one crushed to center. Kiermaier back, got turned around, leaps and makes the catch. And that is why he is an elite defender. He got all turned around, but at the last moment, dialed it in.
When you have the athletic ability, if you get turned around, you're able to regroup. Certainly familiar with center field. He gets to the warning track. He knows he's near that padded wall, and he robs Derek Dietrich. Much to the appreciation of Brandon Gomes, the pitcher.
That's quite a catch. It really is.
I'll always remember, Rich, I think it was last year, possibly the year before, but you and I were in Joe Madden's office talking to him about Kiermaier, who had just come up, and Joe Madden telling us that you're really going to like this kid defensively. He's going to be a good player.
Realmuto swings and misses. All right, emails and tweets on a Wednesday. And the Marlins down 5-1. Realmuto's walked and bounced out. Real Muto lines that one in the gap, left center field. Well hit. Kiermaier after it, and he can't get it. It's in the corner, and Real Muto will hold at second with a double.
Well, we've talked about the triples establishing a catcher's record for the Marlins. 7 triples, 21 doubles now for JT Real Muto. You throw in the home runs that he's hit. JT's hit 10. Ball just got by Kiermaier, but he kept it from being a triple.
Ichiro will pinch hit. And so he comes in to face Gomes. Real Muto at second. Ichiro calls timeout and steps out. 0 for 4 last night was Ichiro. $2,934 hits.
Jake McGee, lefty, getting ready in that Rays pen.
And a strike. Ball in the dirt. Nitro's hit another rough patch here in the month of September.
Probably the thing that older players see more. They see more of those rough patches, especially when you've been as good as Ichiro. And he's had about 3 of them this year.
66 hits shy of 3,000. Ichiro to right. Souza back at the track, makes the catch. Real Muto tags.
Ichiro just missed that one. Yes.
Yeah, would have been a nice way to pull out of that. As it is a fly ball to right, and here comes Rojas. All right, Linda wants to know most surprising player of 2015 and why.
All right, I got to think for a second. Well, you certainly have to think Justin Bour.
And the why is pretty obvious, right? I mean, the 23 homers, 18 doubles, slugging percentage close to 500. Rojas swings and misses.
I think a pleasant surprise is the transition of JT Real Muto, who, remember, didn't start the year here. The plan for the organization was to have him in AAA all year.
Rojas into center field. That's a hit, and it scores a run. And then Miami makes it 5-2. First hit for Rojas on the night. He's a guy you could certainly categorize as a very pleasant surprise. And here comes D. Gordon. Actually, Kevin Cash crashes that party. Asks for the baseball. We'll turn on the diameter and see how everyone's doing in the batting race tonight when we return. It's 5-2 Rays. He started the night at 332. The Diometer shows Bryce Harper 0 for 4. He is percentage points ahead of D. Gordon, but right now at 331 for both. Gordon's not been on base. He hasn't had a chance to take a swipe at Billy Hamilton at 57 stolen bases. So there you go, 197 hits. Gordon digs in. He does have that right side open with Rojas at first and Jake McGee in to face him.
Well, he'll have to go up against another left-hander. In case you're wondering, in the American League, Miguel Cabrera has things locked down, a 334 average, second in the league. Xander Bogaerts having a terrific year with the Red Sox. He's at 324.
Gordon lifts a pop-up down the left field line. Matuk is there, and he makes the catch. Miami gets a run, but that's it. 7th inning stretch in St. Pete. 5-2 Rays. On top, bottom 7 here. Jose Urena will stay in there. This is game 2 of a 3-game set. Last night the Rays a 4-2 win. Marlins and Rays tomorrow night, and then the Marlins will travel after the game to Philly, where the weather is not supposed to be real pleasant when they arrive, and that's supposed to hold through the weekend, which, as you're trying to finish the season, can be a bit problematic. But the fish will arrive in Philly early in the morning on Friday for a Friday night game. First pitch swing, Steven Souza Jr. That's going to be a tough play as Rojas has to go a ways. And actually not as tough as I described it.
Or as he made it look.
To be honest.
Kids, that is tough, though.
Now, you want tough, Tommy Hutton. I feel confident in saying this is a tough play.
Yeah. Last night, concentration, got to the wall, and was able to hang on to the baseball as he tumbled into the stands. Martin Prado. By the way, Rich, the batting title for Miguel Cabrera will be his 4th in 5 years.
Longoria to right center. Yelich full flight, can't get it. Ozuna picks it off the track, and Longoria's got a double. Yelich oh so close to making that catch.
Yeah, the ball was slicing. You mentioned early in the game, Rich, a 1-for-16 slide for Longoria, but he's gotten a couple of hits tonight This ball slices away. You thought Yelich was going to get there, just couldn't quite make it. He knew he was getting close to that wall as well. So Longoria stands at second with a double. Evan Longoria now with 34 doubles on the year.
Now Grady Sizemore had the biggest hit of the night, and that was his end of the bat shot opposite field that was tucked just inside the line, down the left field line. Came with the bases loaded. It drove in 3.
You know, it's funny how guys fit differently with different ball clubs. Early in the year, we saw the veteran who's had just a ton of injuries over his career. We saw Sizemore with the Phillies. All of a sudden, he turns up here with the Rays, and tonight he's their cleanup hitter.
Trying to recapture the magic that was the first part of his career, which was very, very special. Talking about an MVP type guy, Gold Glove, dynamic offensive player with the Indians,
3-time All-Star.
Talk so much about Major League players who played other sports. Sizemore was a dynamite quarterback in high school. He was recruited by the University of Washington to be their quarterback, but ended up signing with the Expos. And he's got himself another hit, this one to left field. So the Rays now at the corners. Teams are clinching now in this last few days. The Dodgers last night, earlier today. With the Blue Jays, their first postseason since 1993, their first American League East title since '93. It's a great moment for a very proud franchise, one that won 2 World Championships in back-to-back seasons. Tommy Hutton, you were along for that ride. You were one of the Jays broadcasters at the time.
Yeah, they made some great moves this year. I mean, first of all, in the offseason, acquiring Josh Donaldson. But at the deadline with David Price, you saw Ben Revere in there, who's done a real nice job for them.
Cabrera fouls a pitch back. He's up there with 1 out.
Here's where it gets tough for the Blue Jays. They've done it all on offense. They have serviceable starting pitching. Price really helps because now they have an ace. But you hope that builds a little bit, and you hope their offense doesn't all get cold, because that can happen in postseason.
It happens before the postseason a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for a team that clinches a ways out. Not that deep, and it falls in left center. Dietrich picks it up. It's going to be an RBI hit for Cabrera. It scores Longoria. Sizemore ends up at third. And the Rays are back up by 4, 6-2. Couple of RBIs for Cabrera tonight.
Yeah, and all of a sudden 3 consecutive hits by the Rays against Urania.
West Canal Toyota called to the bullpen. Urania out. in St. Pete. Chris Narveson with an out and a run across and 2 on. Narveson's road back to the big leagues has been a successful one. Back in the big leagues with the Marlins after arm injury, a trip to Japan.
And I think the quality we've seen in Chris Narveson is a guy who comes in. He's been in many situations because he's been a veteran, and generally comes in and throws strikes. Done a good job. 29 strikeouts in 27 2/3 innings, just 9 walks.
James Loney is the hitter for the Rays. Tampa Bay has 9 hits to go with the 6 runs. Marlins have just the 2 runs, 5 hits. Gordon, Rojas, Bohr, and that's a double play, and that ends the 7th. Nice work by Chris Narveson. 6-2, Tampa Bay.
Marlins got on the board, a base hit by Marcell Ozuna, whose bat has come alive in this series. But just like that, on a sac fly, the Tampa Bay Rays tied it. Big hit, a home run, a solo shot off the bat of the switch hitter, Nick Franklin. He stung that ball. But the biggest one of the night for Tampa, broken bat double with the bases loaded. 3 runs came in to score. Marlins were able to get one back, and they've scratched away, but right now Tampa has a 6-2 lead as we go to the 8th.
A look from high above. We've had some emails. You look at the artificial surface here indoors at the Trot. We've had some emails wanting to know why the artificial surface looks so spotty. Royal in Palm Forest with an email. It's field turf, and as well, it's not the newest of stuff, but the field turf has got the ground up rubber that is in between the blades, the artificial blades of grass. It's much easier on the body than the artificial surface of the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s. Yelich cracks one left center field and deep. Kiermaier couldn't get that one. Off his glove, off the wall. Yelich will settle for a double. Well, he stole extra bases away from Dietrich, and he almost did the same for Yelich. And if he can't catch it out there, I don't know that you're going to find too many others that will.
Look at this effort. Let's see where it goes. Wow. It hits above his glove, just below that yellow line. That's as high as he can get it. And Christian Yelich hits himself a leadoff double.
So a double for Yelich. And here is Prado. Eddie Romero is the pitcher now. Romero coming out of the Rays pen.
Yeah, back-to-back lefties. We saw Jake McKee finish things off in the 7th. Kind of an interesting move, you would think. Obviously, Kevin Cash has his reasons, but he had a lefty in there in McGee who came on to get one out. And now he brings in another lefty to start the inning. I'm old school.
Well, every manager has an endless supply of arms at this point, it seems.
But we were reminded earlier in the game by one of our top crack staffers, Kevin Cash, not only suited to be manager here, he played Little League for Tampa, but he also went to FSU.
There you go. That was from Woody.
Yeah.
One of our crack staffers, who also was just inducted into the Miami Sports Hall of Fame. Our good friend Woody Woodward, a former Seminole himself. And I would bet that if you asked Woody, he would say not a former Seminole, a current Seminole. That's a base hit. Prado punches one to left. Marlins down by 4 here. We'll go station to station with Yelich stopping at third, and Prado has his second hit. He's 2 for 3. And just like that, Miami's got a couple runners on. Bohr coming up. Prado had to sweep the floor.
Yeah, this is a pretty good pitch. Martin Prado, with his 2 hits and a walk tonight, has been on base now 45 of his last 48 games.
Look at that, pitch number 5. That's the equivalent of that left-handed hitter dropping the barrel. Prado dropped the barrel down, just jumped into left. One of the real good pitching coaches in the game. You've got 2 real good ones here in this series. Jim Hickey, longtime coach here with the Rays.
Yeah, very good bench coach, too, that helps out Kevin Cash. Tom Foley, been here a long time. He was third base coach for Joe Madden for a number of years.
Rays have another arm up and loosening in the bullpen, and you get a sense that this might be the last for Romero.
There's Tom Foley.
Bohr has doubled in 3 at-bats, and the double hit the top of the wall in right center field, the very top, inches away from home run number 24. Miami down 4. That a lefty on lefty changeup. The pitch at around 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, his fastball's got a little more than that. Yeah,
98.
He's one of those guys that has a changeup that's similar to some guys' fastballs.
There you go. There's that pitch range. 88 was the change, 98 the fastball. Infield swung around. And Bohr's bouncer. Franklin out there. Out there. And the Rays turn the double play. Miami does get a run. But it's 6-3 with 2 outs in the 8th. No run driven in.
You know, it's been a frustrating night. Justin Bohr has that double. Talked about the double play he hit into in the first inning. Hit the ball well. hit that ball all right. So I like the way he swung the bat tonight against the four times he's been up there against a left-handed pitcher.
I agree with you. I mean, the ball in the first was cracked over the middle. Cabrera was playing behind the bag. It turned into a double play. Here's Ozuna, who has an RBI single in the fourth. Ball and a strike. So anyways, we started out on the artificial turf. The reason it looks uneven is the way that the rubber is spread and the age of the turf. So it's not just that smooth carpet. It's blades of grass with the rubber pellets between it to make it act like real grass. That one goes to the screen. I mean, this has been the home for the Rays ever since they were here. In fact, it was built long before they were here to try to attract the team to this area. Closest team to move here was probably the Giants. I know the White Sox used it as a chip, so to speak, in getting a new ballpark built.
Isn't that amazing when you think about it? Because at that time, the Giants were in Candlestick. Attendance was horrible. And now the Giants at AT&T are almost the model of a perfect franchise.
Of course, in that sequence, the Giants were also in a dalliance, so to speak, with Denver at one point. In a sign of good faith, in order to help get a ballpark in San Francisco, the Oakland Athletics loaned them the rights to San Jose, which the A's actually held at the time. And so as a territory, as it turned out, 15, 20 years later, Oakland was looking to build a ballpark in San Jose.
They still are.
And the Giants would not give them back what Oakland gave them.
As is said sometimes, that's just not right.
No, it's not right. And the Rays certainly have filled this facility with incredible memories and an outstanding run of success. A run to the World Series in 2008. That miracle comeback in 2011 in game 162 to secure the wild card. Dietrich swings and misses. But for a franchise that has done everything right, from on the field, front office, in the community, they really could use a new ballpark, and probably in a different location.
From 2008 to 2013, they were over 500. And for those 5 years, they won 90 or more games.
Dietrich takes outside. But, of course, the city of St. Petersburg does not want to let him out of a lease, which runs into, I want to say, 2028.
27 or 28, I think.
So here they sit. The 2-2. Dietrich takes in. It's turned into a good at-bat. Romero against Dietrich. After a walk to Ozuna. Romero probably bought himself a few more hitters after getting bored in that double play. Real Muto's on deck. And the right-hander's ready in the pen. 3-2. And he got him. Dietrich strikes out. Miami gets one back, but still trails at 6-3. Carolina Ale House in Doral at the watch party tonight. Looks like a good time. It is the final watch party of the season. And our last email and Twitter night. Weren't here last night, so we pushed it to Wednesday. JP Arancibia is up. Chris Narvis's first pitch on the ground. And Martin Prado throws him out. All right, an email. This is from Joe. Joe playing that game where if he could pick a dinner for four, a dream dinner for four, first it would be Joe.
You got to include yourself.
Yeah, he included himself.
Yeah.
It's smart. Then he went with FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Okay.
Then he went with Sinclair Lewis, a great novelist. I believe he won the what prize? Was it a Pulitzer or a Nobel Prize for literature? And then his last selection was Tommy Hutton. You are invited to dinner.
That's probably because I have to pick up the tab.
No, come on. I think it was a Nobel Prize. Thanks from the crack staff. FDR.
Well, that's nice.
I think FDR, Sinclair Lewis would.
We'd have a good conversation. We'd have a nice dinner.
Line drive off the bat of Kevin Kiermaier. All right, since Joe picked you for that dinner for four, you have to pick the place. Where would you eat with that quartet? Sinclair Lewis, FDR, Joe, and you. I don't know that Sinclair Lewis has ever made it on to the show, but
I think that's a first. You know, a nice place where you can go different ways with the choices. Maybe a Capitol Grill, a place like that. Maybe go over to Palm Beach. One of the nice places over there, Palm Beach Grill, Buchan.
Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball misses in. And Nick Franklin, who changed the direction of this game with a home run in the fifth. That was the start of a 4-run inning. Franklin sends a soft fly ball to center, and it's a base hit. Two-out single. Mikey Matuk up now. More emails. Kenneth wanting to know, Tommy, when you were in the Expo organization, was Barry Foote the catcher? And if so, did you ever meet his father, Amby Foote?
I did not. I'll tell you an interesting story, though. Barry Foote, at the time, he was a year or so older. He was to be the catcher of the future for the Montreal Expos. And then a kid came along by the name of Gary Carter,
who kept the nickname.
The Kid. And actually, the first year they tried the kid, Gary Carter, out in right field. And Barry Foote didn't work out for Barry Foote. Worked out for the kid as the Hall of Famer. Barry Foote went on to the Phillies. But yeah, I played against Barry Foote.
Ball and a strike here. Matuk came in the leadoff spot. John Jaso started in left.
Madcap has that circle number. Nice tweet. Tip of the cap to Tommy Kohler. Brought his lunch pail to work in his spot of the rotation. 32 starts. Took the ball every time he was asked. I believe it was Tom Kohler sending out a nice tweet for Dan Herron, who made it 11 straight years of 10 or more wins and 30 or more starts. Dan Herron, the winning pitcher last night. The Cubs beat the Reds 4-1.
I know for Marlin fans, this has been certainly a frustrating year for the Marlins themselves. One bright spot for us was getting to be around Dan Herron for the time that he was in Marlin. Just really impressed with him, both on and off the field. And you can see why he was a successful pitcher. You also see why Dan Herron was a guy who was able to be successful at a different time in his career where he didn't have the same stuff as he did the first, 2/3 of his career.
As a Cub, Dan Haren 3-2 in his 10 starts. ERA a little over 4. Of course, as a Marlin, he was 7-7 with a nice 342 earned run average.
Swing and a miss, and Narveson strikes out Matuk. The Rays lead the fish. This one's headed to the 9th at 6-3. Tomorrow night, this series concludes, and the last start of the year for Jose Fernandez back in his home area.
As if it wasn't cold enough, go inside, warm up. Jose, congratulations.
Nice to see Allison Williams on the show. Brief cameo, not only on the show, but she actually stopped by the booth tonight to say hello to us. A friend of the show, certainly. That's tomorrow night. Marlins Live starts it at 6:30. Jose 6-0 with a 2.91 ERA. And it's Brad Boxberger who takes over. Boxberger looking for his 40th save of the season,
which would tie him with Houston Street for the American League lead in saves.
Well, the Marlins are down 3. And Real Muto takes a strike. Ichiro. And then Rojas.
Boxberger came over from the Padres organization.
Boxberger, if he gets this save, it would tie him with Houston Street, who's out for the season now, of the Angels.
Boy, that was a nasty injury.
Rafael Soriano is the only Ray to ever lead the American League in saves. It was back in 2010. He had 45. And a strike. The odd thing about Boxberger is he's on the verge of saving his 40th game. He has 10 losses. He's 4-10, and this is his 68th appearance. So Andrew Miller, who would have thought Andrew Miller would turn into a closer as he has? Caught there by Aaron Sebia. And there's one out in the ninth. Checkers presents Marlins Live. Craig Minervini, Carl Pavado. That fifth inning for the Rays, a big one. And for D. Gordon, still trying to chase down Bryce Harper. A frustrating night for D on the field. He's 0 for 4. But Gordon didn't, or excuse me, Harper did not fare well either tonight.
Yeah, also an 0 for 4 night.
And the Nationals lost again to the Braves, 2-0. Despite a nice night from Jordan Zimmerman. Ichiro takes a strike. And it's a ball and a strike.
You know, we're talking about saves leaders. The National League leader blows these guys away. Mark Melancon with the Pirates, 51 saves, leading all of Major Leagues.
There's your National League leaders. Two and two. Soft fly ball to left. 2 down. And so Rojas, the last shot for the Fish. The Cardinals are on the verge of clinching another Central Division title with a big lead against the Pirates.
Yeah, Pirates blew them out in the first game, but it looks like the Cardinals are doing the same in game 2.
St. Louis with that big lead over Pittsburgh.
How about those 3 teams all with over 90 wins?
Well, Boxberger just a strike away, an out away from save number 40. And a tie for the American League lead. Rojas shoots that one down the right field line. It's going to get in for a hit. And that'll get D. Gordon in at bat against Boxberger.
Second baseman, D. Gordon.
Rojas runs, Gordon swings and misses. Or was it a foul tip? Rojas at second. He hasn't gone back to first yet. And
it's when you don't believe what another middle infielder will tell you. You have to wait till the umpire sends you back. Seen that. Usually see that once in a while. Shortstop will come over. Yeah, foul ball.
Foul ball. There's a base hit into left field for D. Gordon. Rojas around third. He's going to score. And that brings the tying run to the plate. And that's it. For the Marlins, they get Gordon up, get a hit, and now bring the tying run to the plate. A small ray of light, but a long way to go. But for D. Gordon, nice to end the night, or at least this ninth inning, with a base hit. Maybe not the end of the night.
Well, and a nice base hit, too. Good swing, good base running by Rojas. Miguel Rojas with a two-hit night, but a good swing by D. Gordon. 198 base hits.
Gordon on his way to second. That won't be a stolen base. It's defensive indifference. They were not holding him. Yelich with a 1-0 count. Remember, Boxberger does have the 10 losses to go with 39 saves. Yelich takes in. And he has given up 9 home runs. Yelich doubled to left center. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Barraclough is up just in case.
Well, with D. Gordon's base hit, he sits at 331, as does Bryce Harper.
There's a strike. Prado's on deck, and then Bohr. Strike. Yelich was about to drop the bat and head down to first, shakes his head and steps out. Holy smokes, look at that.
Wow.
He called strike 2. All right, 3-2. Yelich cracks one to first. Loney picks it and steps on the bag, and the ball game is over. Not an easy ride, but Boxberger gets save number 40. Saves it for Drew Smyly, who wins his 5th. And the Rays win it here. Marlins Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers and by Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. 6-4 the final. The Rays have won the first 2 of this 3-game set. Marlins Live, brought to you by Checkers, is coming up.